unemployment rate edged back up in the last 3 months of the year, hitting 32.1%. It's after falling to 31.9% in the previous 3 months. So our unemployment crisis getting worse. The highest job losses were recorded in community and social services, in the construction and agricultural sectors, and trade and manufacturing as well, while finance, transport and mining recorded the largest employment gains over the period. But as you heard in some of those previous stories, some losses yet to come. At the same time, the Department of Small Business will officially open a massive business facility in Kwa-Mashu in Durban tomorrow. For more on this, we are joined by Small Business Development Minister, Minister Stella Ndabeni. Minister, good morning to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I think that I want to start off with just the challenge that we're facing as a country. A lot of us, we continue to be disappointed by the employment stats as they come out. Your initial reaction when you heard that number, 32.1% unemployment at this rate?
Good morning and good morning to all the viewers. Indeed, these are not only shocking and disappointing news, but of course, looking at the challenges that we face as a country, I believe we were bound to see some of those decreases. But if you compare from quarter to quarter, at least, I think at some point we were doing very well, and then we dropped now in quarter four. If you look at the interventions that government is trying to bring, we are trying to say, yes, there are people who are losing jobs, but at the same time, let's invest where we believe that people can be able to get their jobs. Are we not looking at this with the Minister of Labour, who must set out the clear conditions and the terms for bigger corporates and government? We are working together. The Minister of Electricity is also looking at addressing the issue of load shedding, because some of the companies are raising the concerns in terms of the impact of load shedding.
Yeah.
And of course, Transnet has also not done justice in terms of the challenges of which the minister responsible has really committed to turning things around.
Yeah. Of course, it's understandable that the department, your department, that is, would be in touch with all of these other departments to try and deal with the crisis. But I want to look at some of the measures that you certainly have spoken about over the past year, because you talk about load shedding. My understanding, and this is according to a study by Nedbank last year, that said 2/3 of township businesses have been forced to shed jobs because of load shedding. And last year, you yourself, Minister, announced an energy relief package for small businesses. Where is that? What's happening? Where are the promises that you essentially made to small businesses to shield them against load shedding?
Well, if you recall, in relation to that project, we went back and briefed the public that we had applied from National Treasury for funding in order to bail out small businesses. Unfortunately, that was declined by National Treasury. We did brief the small businesses and the public on that. But of course, we didn't sit and fold our arms. The NEF stepped in and provided that support to some of the businesses, and ourselves through SIFA, with the interventions that we have, we then said part of the stuff that the SMMEs need, they can also apply for funding in order to provide for alternative energy. If you look at the most affected segment of the constituency that we serve, your informal and micro traders, we've been handing over generators left, right and center to all those that have applied for our support. This is meant to ensure that we are meeting the SMMEs halfway. We utilize the Township and Rural Enterprise Program, which is known as TRAP, to give effect to those businesses in the townships, those that are bigger now, no longer micro, the small and medium, to say you can apply from these funds, which have a component of 100,000 as a grant in order to provide the alternative energy. We may not have reached everyone, of course, because of budgetary constraints.
Okay. There was also the intention that you had set yourself, Minister, to set up a state-owned company that would support small businesses. I think it was under the it would see amendments to the National Small Enterprise Act. You also wanted to set up a small business ombudsman. Where are you with those efforts?
As I'm speaking to you right now, the amendment bill has been passed has been approved by the National Assembly. The NCOP is busy with public hearings as we speak. We are hopeful that according to their schedule, by March, the bill would have been adopted in the House, which will give effect to the new agency that must be set up in April. So we are on track, and we are certain that we'll give the small businesses what is required of them. And of course, the processes of appointing the ombuds, once the bill is adopted by both houses, we then kickstart the recruitment process.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, this is all, one could argue that we're seeing a very slow pace of things moving here, Minister. I mean, to the 87,000 young people who lost their jobs over the third quarter and the 4.7 young South Africans who are without a job, they really would like solutions to come a lot faster. Maybe let's get to the numbers of, you know, what the department has been able to successfully do year on year in terms of, you know, share numbers of how many businesses you've been able to assist and also help sustain themselves year on year. We're hoping that that number is increasing because our unemployment numbers are not.
Thank you so much for that. You will recall that we made a commitment of supporting 100,000 entrepreneurs. And when I gave account in my last budget vote, I did indicate that we have surpassed that 100,000, and that 100,000 was for the 5-year term that we are responsible for. And by last year, we were already at 110,000 of SMMEs that we have supported. When we support SMMEs, it therefore tells you that there are jobs that are created and jobs that are sustained. As I'm speaking to you now, we once again committed to say in this upcoming financial year, we'll definitely support about 20,000 SMMEs, and therefore that translates to a higher number of jobs again. We are doing these interventions because we are aware of the challenges that people are faced with. But we want to call upon all South Africans. We know, yes, there isn't all the support that they require, but when they kickstart an initiative, we're then able to partner with them, looking at the entire ecosystem, not only the interventions by the department. And this is why we are coordinating the ecosystem to say, we cooperate, let's check how far we have gone in terms of supporting SMMEs, because the National Development Plan is clear. 90% of the jobs that must be created by 2030 should come from small and medium enterprises.
Right.
This is why we are partnering with different ecosystem players, departments, and of course the private sector that is on board. All
right, so let's talk about what you're doing in Kwa-Mashu then.
Today, tomorrow we'll be launching a SAFE program, which we call the Shared Economic Infrastructure Program, which in turn is intended to support SMMEs at a particular area wherein we build infrastructure for them. For example, in the Kwa-Mashu, as you know that they have what they call the Inhloko market, where Scopo is sold. So what we did, we partnered, of course, with our agency and eThekwini municipality to build an infrastructure. We're bringing 2 refrigerated containers, because you will recall that these informal traders, when they have to buy day in, day out, then they're losing money. They're not able to save or get discount when buying more.
Right.
Or if you did not buy today from them, then it means their food is going to go rotten. So we provided infrastructure, tanks, stoves, grillers, and of course the basins and the infrastructure, as I spoke about, wherein they can prepare so that me and you as the middle class can be able to proudly go and say we can eat our scopo or our lunch at the Inhloko market in Kwa-Mashu.
Yeah, well, some of us never stopped, and we do enjoy a good plate of Inhloko. Thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. That there, Minister Stella Ndabeni Abrahams, who's Minister for the Small Business Development Department.